Hello everyone. I would like to thank Oleg Korolev and all of the organizers who have made this event possible, and thank you for inviting me to take part in this exhibition and to have a chance to speak a little bit about my work and I guess some of the philosophy and ideas which are related to why I make the work which I make and how I see life, I guess, because these things overlap. And I honestly feel that, the reason why I've been focusing so much on the subject of the Virgin Mary in my work, which you can see in a lot of the paintings, is because I truly believe that this is the thing that's going to bring the purity back into our culture, which is lacking. And when you look at the soul behind the culture of Europe and the Western culture in a way, one of the key components has been the glorification of Mary, and as this ideal of the beauty and the innocence and the purity and the peace and the love and all of these qualities which we associate with in a lot of ways, the highest embodiment of the feminine. Yeah, last year I was traveling. I was spending some time in Portugal, and I had the chance to go to a small little village called Fatima, which is not too far away from Lisbon in Portugal. And last year was the 100-year anniversary of the time when the Virgin Mary had actually appeared to a group of small children and had basically given them a message for our times and for our world, for the world. And yeah, it was kind of the message that was given was not a message just for this village and not just a message for Portugal, but it was actually for the whole world. And it's kind of a wake-up call to remind people of that beauty which is there under the surface, and which a lot of us are sort of searching for something, searching for going to India, going to study yoga and meditation and Reiki and all these different things which I myself went through, exploring and trying to find. But all the time, that treasure is actually already there. It's always been in our culture. And I'm just speaking from my perspective now of coming from the Western culture. But I feel that this is something that's not just a Western thing, but it's for everyone. And I really feel that the message which Mary's bringing is really kind of a wake-up call for our world. And the interesting fact is that a lot of it is to do with Russia, and some of the things that she was asking for was to consecrate Russia to her Immaculate Heart, asking for this public consecration to happen, and this still has not really occurred. And I feel like this is something which is such a great treasure which is waiting for us to discover or to rediscover for many, because it's something which has kind of always been there, but often it's brushed aside as something for the older generations, or just some dogma, or I feel that this devotional culture is going to come in the future, because it's the only thing which can fill the void which everyone has, and it's a culture that's based on prayer, and it's the only thing that can really save us, because we can look at the problems of the world and see, there's this vast environmental collapse which is happening, and there's all of this destruction of nature and the environment. But at the core of that is greed, and the antidote for those things. Science can't find a way to solve the problems, because the problems are to do with human nature, and human nature can only be remedied or cured or helped by the intervention of spirituality and religion. What I feel more attracted towards, or what I feel that my heart has been called towards for maybe the last 7 or 8 years, has been more of going towards sacred art or devotional art, using art and music and writing and poetry, and not so much as a way to express personal revelations or personal experiences or those types of things, but more as a kind of a gift, like to say, I want to paint this as a thank you to the one that created me, and I feel like that motivation, if it's in the right place, if it's driving in the right place, it's going to bring about a lot of good fruit. And so for me, this exploration of Mary has been really important, and in my own interior life, and also exteriorly in my expressions. And I believe that Russia has a really huge role to play, because that nation has gone through such a heavy time, such a purification during the Soviet years. And yes, after many, many centuries of being such a devout nation, it went through this awful period of atheism where millions and millions of people were killed. And I believe that there's going to be an awakening, which is already happening, and that God is going to use Russia in a way to wake up a lot of the other nations of the earth. And in a way, I'm excited about the future and wanting to be part of that awakening. And in my perspective, it's an awakening of prayer, of returning back to our Creator. And in a lot of ways, the first step is to acknowledge that we are not perfect and that we have gone off track, both as individuals and as families and as nations and as countries, as the world. And if we continue believing that we are perfect and we can do anything we want and there's no limits and there's no boundaries, and then we just keep going the way that we have, So I think we need a big wake-up call. And my motivation is to be part of this devotional culture, which is just being born, I feel. And I'm excited about meeting other people in my generation and in other generations who are really devoted to bringing about this culture of prayer and the culture of reconnecting with God and healing on so many levels. But it's not something that we can do by ourselves through our own will. And that's kind of the first step, is realizing that we can't do this by ourselves. We have to rely on the divine help. Thank you for listening.